Most women are relationship failures, and that includes you. Did you know that there are 5 major mistakes that you're making on your first date that are ruining your chances at having a healthy relationship? Let's dive into that. Some of these are going to be controversial, and that's okay, because I'm not here to tell you everything that you want to hear. I'm here to actually give you the game on what it takes to position yourself for healthy love and a lasting relationship. So let's start with a really quick story. I have a coaching client who is in this journey of rediscovering herself as a dating woman. And she could not stop being ghosted. Every man who came into her life, who seemed to be interested, who was exciting, who expressed that he wanted to see her again, would ghost her. Now, she is in the real estate market, she is successful, but she's also very soft. So she doesn't allow her strength to get in the way of being open and receptive to love, like some of y'all do. But that's a topic for another episode. And this particular client was struggling and did not understand what she was doing wrong and why every potential partner seemed to disappear after the first date. The phone call was good, the initial conversations were good, the first date seemed to go great, but after that, they fizzled out and she never heard from them again. And because I care about you and I want you to have healthy relationships, I'm gonna talk to you about the 5 major mistakes that my client was making that I can almost guarantee that you've made on a first date too. The first thing that you're doing wrong on the first date, and you might wanna come for me because I know that you probably have never heard this before, but it's that you're going to dinner. You never wanna do dinner on a first date. And here's why. Whenever you're going on a dinner date, you have so much expectation. You are getting prettied up. You may buy a new outfit, hair and nails done. You're spending all this time prepping, which means that you want something in return. So instead of having simple requirements for the type of experience that you want to have, you're now having expectations about the result that you want to get. Anytime you move into the dating space with an expectation, you are going to be let down and disappointed. Because expectations are a conversation you're having with yourself. No one else knows about them. Requirements are a conversation you have with your partner. The dinner date is also seductive. The lighting is low, the music is playing, there are other couples in love. It's hypnotic and it seduces you. You can never really gauge who the individual on the other side of the table is because you're in this seductive environment. You're in this romantic place and space. And instead of genuinely connecting with him, you're fixated on the idea of him that's in your head. So what should you do instead? Instead, I want you to stress him out. This is what I call the show dating method. You always want to put yourself and this new potential partner in an environment where you can gauge how he handles stress. So we can go play a sport, we can do something competitive, we can rock climb, we can hike, we can play pool, we can go to an escape room. You want to be in a place where you'll get to see who he really is. How does he operate in stress? How does he deal with losing? What does he really feel about women who come on strong and who are competitive? We can never hide who we are for too long, and so being in these healthy, stressful environments allows you to get sneak peeks at how this individual treats people. If he's ever rude to the staff or the service providers, he's not going to be the type of man that you want to go on date number 2 with. So, do not go to dinner. Always stress him out and be in a position of observation so that you can learn, okay? The mistake that you're making after that is something that I think you're probably going to question yourself about because most people never think about this and most coaches don't tell you, but I'm not most coaches. This particular thing is a clue that women use in order to tell them when things are going good. And this mistake has to do with you, your body, and your body's chemistry. The major mistake that you're making on the first date, number 2, is that you are allowing your butterflies to tell you that this is a good idea. Even when there are red flags popping up, even when there are things that maybe you're questioning, you feel this sensation in your belly, and because those chemicals are moving, you tell yourself, this must be the one. This must be the guy. Instead, you want to take a step back and really reflect on what's happening in that experience. Why? Because often body chemistry can be telling you, this is a dangerous place. This is a toxic person. We've experienced this before. We've been here before. This is familiar. But too many women simply believe that when they feel butterflies, that means that there's chemistry. That means that this is a good thing. That means that we should continue this. But what it means is that you need to listen to your body. What is your body saying? Because the body is a compass, and it's always going to lead you in the right direction. But you have to be aware enough, not hyper fixated on romanticizing the situation or the man, and give yourself time to really evaluate your feelings and what your body is saying to you. The third major mistake that you're making on the first date is that you are holding hands. I know we think that holding hands is romantic and that when a man holds your hand, he's really into you, but I have another theory. When a man holds your hand, he's really marking his territory. He's testing you to see if you will allow him to take control and to take ownership of you in that particular space. Holding hand is a sign of intimacy, it's a sign of connection, it's a sign of togetherness. It lets the other people in the space know that we are off limits. And when you allow a man who you've just met, who you're only on the first date with, to hold your hand, it signifies to him that you are giving yourself to him in a way that doesn't really take much effort. It's okay to give a gentle hug when you're greeting or leaving. Even a light peck on the cheek is okay. But the intimacy level of hand holding signals that you are giving him something that he has not yet earned. And I don't want you to do that. You're on the date to learn, to observe, to create options for yourself so that you can see whether or not this is someone you want to move into date number 2, date number 3, date number 4 with. It's an interview process. And although you don't have to spit out or rapid fire questions to this individual, you absolutely want to listen to what's happening, observe what's going on, and then make healthy decisions about the level of intimacy you want to give this person. And so holding hands is always going to be off limits on the first date. The fourth major mistake that you're making is that you are giving too much access too soon. There needs to be a time limit on the date. If we are going to play pool, if we are going rock climbing, if we are doing something competitive or something fun, there's generally a time frame in which you do that thing. You can give a few extra minutes before the date, a few extra minutes after the date, but you should not exceed 3 hours on a first date. And here's why. When you put yourself in a position and you give someone all of the access to you, what it says is you don't have any other options. If you had other options, you wouldn't give me this much access. I hear women all the time who say, oh my God, we talked for 10 hours the first conversation. We talked until the sun came up. We sat in his car for 3 or 4 hours after the date. You ain't got no life? You ain't got things to do? Stop allowing this man to come in and disrupt your plans. It also shows that you have a lack of self-control and a lack of self-discipline. If he gets you to feel good in the space and you're enjoying yourself, then you cancel the plans, you extend the babysitter, you tell the girls you're not coming out with them anymore, so you can just sit in this car and look in this man's face. When again, he has not earned the right to this level of access to you. That's also why the men who don't ghost you turn out to be narcissists and manipulators and controlling, abusers in many cases, because they are looking for women that they can prey on. And if I can get you to give me so much access and so much time on the first date, just by stroking your ego and telling you what you want to hear, that's a clear indication that you ain't got no other business than what's in front of you right now. And the fifth and final major mistake that you're making on the first dates is one that you probably don't even recognize you're making. And that is that you are talking entirely too much. You have to be quiet in order to learn. You have to listen in order to hear. And you want to be able to listen to what's actually being said and not negate what's being said because you're listening to the thoughts in your head, right? Those Disney fairy tales and those Disney movies have told you that there's going to be a knight in shining armor who's going to swoop in and be everything you want him to be and save you. But if there's anything I can tell you about real relationships, is that they take work, and no man is going to be perfect. So you need to be quiet. You need to listen. You need to ask open-ended questions that give you an opportunity to learn about who this man is, what his beliefs are, what he's looking for. Otherwise, you won't know anything about him as you're moving out of the early dating phase and into the latter part. This is why so many people are in relationships for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and then they're like, oh my God, I don't know who you are. Because you never listened. You didn't pay attention. You simply wanted to check off the box of being in a relationship. You simply wanted to have a man as an accessory. You wanted to be able to post pictures on the gram. But this is real life. Your dating life leads to your relationship life, leads to the legacy of love and life that you are creating. So if you stop making these 5 mistakes and you begin to take a step back and really listen to learn, allow your body to speak to you, stop giving so much access, and create some dating requirements, it will lead to no more ghosting, top-tier prospects, and a happier and more joyful dating life where you are not dependent on some man to make you happy. I would love to hear your feedback, so make sure that you leave your comments and your questions down below. And if you've learned anything, and if you're going to try out some of the things that I said and you're not going to continue to make these mistakes, let me know that as well. As always, stay sacred, and I'll see you on the next episode.